He protected the princess with his life. Now the queen insists the human stay. It was meant to be a safe route, guarded and carefully mapped by the queen's best strategists. Inside the central vessel sat the princess. She was young by her people's standards, her posture calm but her eyes curious as she watched the stars pass by. This journey mattered. Her arrival would seal an alliance between two powerful star systems. Peace depended on her safety. Around her stood elite alien guards, tall, armored, and trained from birth for royal protection. And among them, almost invisible, stood a single human. He was smaller, slower. His armor was simpler. No glowing symbols marked his rank. To the aliens, he looked fragile, almost out of place. Humans were new to this part of the galaxy. Useful, some said. Brave, others admitted. But compared to the ancient warrior races, they were seen as emotional and physically weak. The human did not mind. He stood near the rear corridor, silent, watching everything. His eyes followed movements, reflections, shadows. He did not rely on strength. He relied on attention. That was why he noticed it first. A flicker, not on the main screen, not on the long-range sensors. A brief distortion along the corridor wall, too smooth to be natural. His hand tightened around his weapon. "Ambush," he said quietly. The alien guards did not react. Their scanners showed nothing. Then space exploded. Energy fire ripped through the convoy. The front escort ship vanished in a flash of light. Alarms screamed. Shields flared and failed as enemy vessels tore out of hiding, surrounding the royal ship. The corridor shook violently. The princess stumbled, caught by one of her guards. Orders were shouted in sharp alien tones. Defensive formations formed instantly, but they were already breaking. The attackers were prepared. Enemy soldiers breached the hull in seconds, cutting through doors with brutal efficiency. These were not raiders. They were professionals. The alien guards fought with discipline, but their training was built on expectations. Frontline defense, strong shields, clear lines. This attack ignored all of that. Smoke filled the corridors. The princess was rushed toward an escape chamber, surrounded by guards. The human moved with them, staying close but never in the center. Then the lights went out. Emergency red replaced white. Screams echoed from distant halls. From the shadows ahead, enemy troops appeared, blocking the escape route. The alien guards hesitated. That hesitation cost them. Blinding fire tore through the front line. 2 guards fell instantly. The formation collapsed. The princess froze. She had trained for ceremonies, speeches, leadership, not for this. An enemy soldier raised a weapon directly at her. The human moved. He did not shout. He did not wait for orders. He stepped forward, pushing the princess aside with one arm and firing with the other. The shot was fast and precise. The enemy fell. Another appeared, then another. The human advanced, placing himself fully between the princess and the attackers. "Go," he shouted. "Move her." The alien guards reacted, pulling the princess back. But the corridor was narrow, and enemies poured in from both ends. A blast hit the human's shoulder, spinning him into the wall. Pain burned through him, but he stayed upright. He changed tactics. Instead of standing ground, he retreated step by step, drawing the attackers toward him, away from the princess. He used the corridor's corners, debris, and fallen panels as cover. The aliens watched in disbelief. This was not how their warriors fought. The human was wounded, bleeding, but every movement had purpose. He fired, moved, disappeared, reappeared. He made the corridor feel crowded, dangerous, unpredictable. An enemy grenade rolled toward him. He kicked it back. It exploded among the attackers. The princess watched from behind cover, her breath shallow. She saw the human take another hit, then another. His armor cracked. His movement slowed. Still, he did not fall. "Fall back," an alien commander ordered him through the communicator. The human shook his head, even though no one could see him. If he moved, they would reach her, so he stayed. The attackers realized this too. They stopped rushing. They coordinated. Heavy fire filled the corridor. The human was thrown off his feet. He hit the floor hard, vision blurring. The princess screamed his name. He pushed himself up. Blood dripped onto the metal floor. His hands shook. His weapon overheated, warning lights flashing. He checked the corridor behind him. The princess was almost at the escape chamber. Almost. That was enough. He planted his feet and activated a manual overload on his armor's power cell, something humans used only in emergencies. The output surged, boosting his shield for a short time. The aliens did not know humans could do that. The enemy certainly did not. The human charged forward, not to win, only to delay. Every second mattered. He slammed into the attackers, firing at close range, forcing them back. The corridor became chaos, smoke, sparks, alarms. A blade struck his side. Another hit his leg. He fell to one knee, then forced himself up again. Behind him, the escape chamber sealed shut. The princess was safe. The moment he saw the door lock, the human let himself fall. The last thing he heard was alien guards returning fire, pushing past him. Then darkness took him. He woke to silence. White light replaced red. The air was clean, warm. He tried to move and failed. Pain spread through his body like fire. "You are awake." The voice was calm, female, alien. He turned his head slightly. An alien healer stood nearby, her expression unreadable. "She lives?" he asked, his voice rough. "Yes," the healer replied. "The princess is unharmed." He closed his eyes. That was enough. "You disobeyed orders," the healer continued. "You were told to retreat." He gave a weak smile. "Couldn't." The healer studied him closely. "You should not have survived." He shrugged as much as he could. "Humans are stubborn." Word spread quickly. Across the ship, across the fleet, across the royal network. A human had stood alone in a corridor and refused to move. A human had taken wounds meant for a princess. A human had held the line when trained warriors froze. By the time the convoy reached the capital world, the story had already changed. It was no longer about an ambush. It was about the human who would not run. Far above, in a palace older than most stars, the queen listened in silence as reports ended. She said only one thing: "Bring him to me when he wakes." And across the galaxy, enemies began to realize their mistake. They had attacked a princess, but they had revealed something far more dangerous. The human woke slowly, as if rising from deep water. Light filled the room, soft and warm. The air smelled clean, almost sweet. His body felt heavy, wrapped in invisible chains. Pain rested everywhere, dull but constant. He opened his eyes. The ceiling above him was not human. Smooth crystal panels curved like a shell, glowing faintly with moving patterns. Machines hummed quietly around him. He tried to move his hand. Nothing happened. A shadow shifted beside the bed. "You should not try to move," a calm voice said. An alien healer stepped into view. Her skin shimmered like pale stone, and thin lines of light moved across her arms. Her many eyes studied him carefully. "You have been unconscious for 4 cycles," she said. "Your injuries were severe." He swallowed. His throat burned. "Princess?" he asked. "She is safe," the healer replied. "Because of you." He closed his eyes again, relief washing over him. The pain did not matter now. "You saved more than her," the healer continued. "You saved the Alliance mission. You saved this ship." He said nothing. Humans were not used to praise from alien voices. "You broke 3 bones," she added. "You lost much blood. Your armor should have failed." "But it didn't," he whispered. "No," the healer said softly. "It did not." Word of his survival spread through the palace like quiet fire. Alien guards paused outside the medical wing, pretending they had business there. Servants whispered as they passed. Some looked at the room with curiosity, others with respect. Humans were known across the stars, but not like this. This human had done something strange, something difficult to understand. He had stayed. In the royal council chamber, the queen listened. She sat upon her throne of living crystal, ancient and unmoving. Her presence silenced the room without effort. Before her stood nobles, generals, and advisors. The attack had shaken them all. The human disobeyed direct orders, one noble said sharply. He endangered the princess by acting alone. Another replied, if he had not acted, she would be dead. Murmurs filled the chamber. The queen raised one hand. Silence returned. He is human, she said slowly. Tell me what that means. The generals exchanged looks. One of the younger species, a commander answered, physically weaker, shorter lifespan, emotion-driven. Yet, the queen said, her eyes glowing faintly, he stood when others retreated. No one answered. Bring me the princess, the queen ordered. The princess entered the chamber with steady steps. She was no longer wearing ceremonial robes. Instead, she wore simple royal attire. Her face was calm, but her eyes carried something new. The queen studied her daughter closely. Tell me what happened, the queen said. The princess took a breath. He moved before anyone else, she said. He did not wait, he did not hesitate. She clenched her hands. When the guards fell, he stood in front of me. I felt his hand push me back. He was shaking, but he did not step away. The room remained silent. He was injured, she continued. I saw his blood. I told him to run. He did not. Her voice grew quieter. He looked at me and said, I won't leave you. The queen closed her eyes briefly. That is all, the queen said. The princess bowed and left. When the doors closed, the queen spoke again. Prepare the court, she said. I will see the human. The human was not ready to stand. When the royal guards arrived, he tried anyway and failed. I can walk, he said stubbornly. You cannot, the healer replied. But you will. They moved him carefully, placing him on a hovering platform. He hated it. Humans preferred their feet on the ground. The palace corridors were vast and beautiful. Crystal walls reflected light like stars. Alien nobles watched as he passed. Some looked curious. Some looked uneasy. The platform stopped. The doors opened. The throne room felt heavy, like the air itself pressed down. The queen waited. She was larger than he expected, her form tall and powerful, her presence ancient. Her eyes held the calm of someone who had seen empires rise and fall. He struggled to sit upright. Do not, the queen said. You have already stood enough. He swallowed. You are the human, she said, the one who did not retreat. Yes, your majesty, he replied. Why? The question was simple. He thought for a long moment. Because she trusted me, he said finally. The queen tilted her head. That is all. Yes, he said. That was enough. The court murmured. The queen studied him in silence. You knew you would likely die, she said. Yes. You acted anyway. Yes. Humans often do this, she asked. He smiled weakly. When we care, he said. Yes. The queen leaned back. You were ordered to fall back, she said. Yes. You chose not to. Yes. Do you regret it? He did not hesitate. No, the queen's eyes brightened. Interesting, she said. The reaction came quickly. Some nobles were outraged. A human so close to the royal line is dangerous, one argued. This creates weakness. Others disagreed. He creates loyalty, another replied. Something our enemies do not understand. The queen listened to all of it. Then she raised her hand. The human will remain, she said. The chamber froze. He will stay within the palace, she continued. Under my protection. Shock rippled through the court. He will not be punished, the queen added. He will not be dismissed. The human's eyes widened. My queen, he began. You will listen, she said gently. You have shown me something valuable, something rare. She stood. You remind us that strength is not only measured in armor or age, she said, but in choice. She turned to the court. Any who threaten him will answer to me. The decision was final. Not everyone accepted it. Far from the palace, in the dark reaches of space, the enemy listened. Reports arrived one after another. The princess survived. The human survived. The queen protects him. Silence followed. A tall figure stepped forward, its eyes cold. So, it said, the human is important. Yes, another replied. They value him. The figure nodded. Then we will break them, it said. Through him. Plans were drawn, ships moved. The next attack would not be careless, it would be personal. Back in the palace, the human rested again. The princess visited him quietly. She stood beside his bed, unsure what to say. "You should have left," she said softly. He smiled. "I know," he replied. She looked at him. "Thank you," she said. He nodded. Outside the room, guards stood taller than before. They had seen something change. A human had entered their world, and nothing felt the same anymore. The human woke to the low hum of the palace. The air smelled faintly metallic, clean, and calming. His body ached everywhere, but his spirit felt stronger than ever. The past cycles had been quiet, almost peaceful, but he knew that the silence was only temporary. The princess entered without knocking. She had changed since the attack. Her eyes, once filled with fear and uncertainty, now carried focus and determination. Her steps were steady. Her presence was quiet but commanding. "You're awake," she said softly. "I never really slept," he replied, smiling faintly. "Just resting," she nodded. "You'll need your strength. They're planning another attack, a bigger one this time." He sat up, ignoring the ache in his joints. "I expected as much." Far outside the palace, in the dark reaches of space, the enemy gathered. Their ships formed a tight formation around the system. They had learned from the first attack. This time, there would be no mistakes. They intended to strike at the human who had embarrassed them, the princess who had survived, and the queen who had dared to protect him. The queen had already anticipated this. Orders were sent through the palace, defenses were reinforced, and every guard prepared for battle. But the human, even while recovering, was already planning. He studied alien tactics, learned their weaknesses, and suggested countermeasures that no alien had considered before. His presence was changing everything. He turned to the princess. "When they come, you stand with me, not behind me. We fight together." Her eyes widened. "I." "No arguments," he said firmly. "We both protect what matters." When the enemy fleet arrived, the palace defenses activated instantly. Energy shields flared, sending out brilliant waves of blue light. Alien warships lined up to intercept, firing plasma beams and missile volleys. Explosions lit up the void. Inside the palace, the human moved among the soldiers, showing them techniques that humans had developed over centuries. How to hold chokepoints, how to use cover efficiently, how to anticipate enemy movement. The alien guards watched in awe as their human officer led them with clarity and courage. The first wave of enemies breached the outer defenses. Panic threatened to spread among the younger guards, but the human's voice cut through the chaos. "Hold your ground. Every second counts. Remember why we fight." The words carried authority, even though he was human, smaller, and technically weaker. Still, the soldiers listened. The corridors became a battlefield, with alien guards and humans fighting side by side. The princess followed his instructions. She used energy barriers to protect key hallways, coordinated defensive fire, and even personally disabled enemy drones. The human noticed her courage and determination growing with each passing second. "You've learned fast," he said as she deflected another attack. "I had a good teacher," she replied, eyes focused. The enemy realized that they underestimated the human. Their strategies failed. Their precise attacks were blocked or misdirected. Every time they thought they had a path to the princess or the queen, the human anticipated it and stopped them. Then the enemy commander appeared, a large, armored figure aboard a flagship controlling drones remotely. He issued a broadcast. "Human, you interfere with our plans. Step aside or we will destroy everything you protect." The human stood in the palace communications room and responded simply, "We don't step aside." The words were calm, almost quiet, but they carried strength. The battle escalated. Explosions shook the palace as drones breached outer corridors. Alien guards were pushed back, wounded and forced to retreat. But the human stood firm. He was hit multiple times. His armor cracked under plasma fire. Pain lanced through him, but he did not fall. He kept moving, keeping paths open for the princess, guiding soldiers and countering attacks with human ingenuity. The princess noticed his injuries. "Stop," she shouted. He shook his head. "I won't leave you. We survive together or we fall together." Her heart pounded. She realized that this human had become more than a protector. He had become the reason they could hold the line. The enemy commander realized brute force would not succeed. He switched tactics, targeting the princess directly. Drones surrounded her, weapons aimed precisely. The human saw the attack just in time. He sprinted forward, pushing the princess aside, taking multiple blasts to his armor. Sparks flew. Smoke rose from his helmet, but he continued forward. With every ounce of strength left, he used his body as a shield, deflecting the drone's fire until the princess could escape to safety. The queen observed everything from her throne room. Her face was calm, but her eyes glimmered with pride. "He is human," she whispered. "And yet he fights as if he is invincible." The human collapsed to one knee. His armor was destroyed, his body broken, but his spirit remained. The princess reached him, placing her hand gently on his shoulder. "You are alive," she said, voice shaking. "Yes," he whispered. "Because you survived." She knelt beside him. "You have done more than protect me. You have inspired everyone, even the soldiers, even me." He smiled faintly. "Humans do what we must. We protect those who trust us." Outside, the remaining enemy forces hesitated. They had expected the human to be weak, to retreat, to fail. Instead, he stood between life and death, not alone, but with the princess and the soldiers who had learned courage from him. The queen raised her hand. Energy waves surged through the palace, activating hidden defenses. The enemy flagship was struck with precision and their drones were destroyed or disabled. Retreat was the only option. The enemy commander glared at the fleet. "This human is different." "Yes," another officer said. "We underestimated them all. Humanity is dangerous." After the battle, the palace was quiet. Soldiers and guards tended to their wounds. The human was carried to the royal medical chamber, battered but alive. The princess sat beside him, her hand on his. "You could have died," she said, "and yet you stayed." "I told you," he whispered, "we survived together." The queen entered quietly, her presence filling the room. She looked at him with admiration and authority. "You have shown us the value of choice," she said. "The courage to protect without command, the determination to stand when others fall. You have earned a place here not as a servant but as an equal, a trusted protector of the royal line." The human's chest rose and fell rapidly. He could not speak. The princess smiled softly. "You belong here," she said. The queen nodded. "And the galaxy will learn from this. Humanity is not weak. Humanity is relentless. They protect not because they are ordered, but because they choose to. That is strength. That is power." The human looked at the princess. She looked back. No words were needed. Together they had faced the impossible. Together they had survived. In the days that followed, humans were treated differently in the palace. Alien soldiers learned new strategies, inspired by the human's tactics. The princess grew in confidence, guided by his courage. The queen held a private audience with him. "You may leave if you wish," she said. "Return to your people." He shook his head. "I choose to stay, here, with them, with her, to protect what matters." The queen nodded. "Then you shall remain, and the galaxy will remember that humanity does not flee. Humanity protects. Humanity inspires." Far away, the defeated enemy fleet retreated. Their records would carry one simple warning: never underestimate a human. Because humans, even alone, could face death and choose courage. They could protect life with unwavering loyalty. And once a human chose to stand, nothing, not age, not experience, not alien technology, could easily break them. The human looked out at the stars from the palace balcony, the princess by his side. They were safe for now, but the galaxy had changed forever. For the first time, humans were not outsiders. They were a force, a reason for hope. A reminder that even in the vastness of space, Courage and loyalty could turn the tide of war. And in the heart of the queen's palace, one human had proven that sometimes one choice, one act of bravery could change everything. The stars glittered above, silent witnesses to the story of a human who would not run, and the galaxy would never forget him.